Hello, the Pioneer viewers. How are you? I hope you're healthy and well. As the Pioneer team, we are here again to bring you another new report. In our previous reports, we told you that Avdiivka was captured by the Russian army. Avdiivka fell, but there is a big difference between capturing a city and full control. The Russian armed forces are still not in full control of the city, and how do we understand this? From the operation carried out by the Azov Battalion, one of the most elite units of the Ukrainian armed forces. What do we know about the latest operation of Azov Battalion in Avdiivka? Let's analyze it together. As the Pioneer team, we continue to bring the Russia-Ukraine war to your screens. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. You can also support me and my team by using the super thanks button below the videos. Thank you in advance for your support. Let's start if you are ready. The Pioneer reports. The Russian army continues to keep the public busy with the claims of the progress on the front line. Advancing on the front line is of course important, but what is even more important is to completely destroy the enemy's defenses and offensive capabilities, and in this case, of course not. The Ukrainian armed forces have not lost their defensive and offensive capabilities, and this is evidenced by the operation carried out by the Azov Battalion. There was an understanding that we have stated in our previous reports. We think that it's useful to express it again. You can rain bombs on the area to capture it, but it is not enough. Infantrymen's feet must touch the area. And is this enough? Of course not. At the same time, the enemy elements should not have any chance to show any kind of activity in the areas you have captured. However, it seems that the Russian army, which captured the town of Avdiivka thanks to heavy losses, still could not dominate the town. In the past days, Russian sources have raised a very striking claim. According to this claim, units of the Russian armed forces have achieved full control in Avdiivka. Moreover, they were not limited to this claim. Russian sources claimed that they destroyed half of the Azov Battalion. The Azov Battalion, on the other hand, refuted this claim of the Russian sources with the operation it carried out. There are many tunnels around Avdiivka. These tunnels played a critical role in the capture of the region by Russian troops. Therefore, the Russian army should have provided full protection in the tunnels without ignoring this fact. However, the Russian troops, drunk with victory, left these tunnels empty. The Azov Battalion, half of which was allegedly destroyed, carried out an infiltration operation through these tunnels. The infiltrating Azov units went unnoticed by the Russian armed forces for a long time. Local sources claim that since the Russian soldiers entered the town of Avdiivka, they have been organizing parties and getting drunk all the time. Considering that the infiltration operation of the Azov Battalion was also successful, this claim may be true. The Azov Battalion troops infiltrated through the tunnels into the Russian positions behind the Avdiivka and made a sudden raid on the Russian troops. Entering the trenches, Ukrainian Azov Battalion units managed to destroy a large number of Russian soldiers. Afterwards, the Azov Battalion soldiers were going to leave the area using the tunnels again, but the Russian soldiers were in the pursuit. The Azov Battalion was prepared. At the very beginning of the operation, the Azov Battalion had made traps at some points of the tunnel while advancing through the tunnels. In this way, in case of any mishap, the tunnel would be destroyed and the passage to the Ukrainian side of the tunnel would be destroyed as well. This plan was really well thought out, but from this point of view, we see how well the Ukrainian strategic intelligence was used. As the Azov Battalion soldiers retreated, the Russian soldiers followed them. They knew which tunnel the Azov Battalion soldiers came from. They started to chase the Azov Battalion soldiers using this tunnel, and the Azov Battalion soldiers detonated pre-planted bombs as soon as the Russian soldiers reached the ambush points. Many Russian soldiers were destroyed during the tunnel chase. Moreover, Russian soldiers had no chance to cross the Ukrainian side using this tunnel because a large part of the tunnel will collapse. This sudden raid by the Ukrainian Azov Battalion shocked the Russian military. A strict order was allegedly sent to the Russian troops in the area. They were ordered to triple the number of Russian sentries in the areas and to close all the tunnels in the vicinity. The incident showed that even though the Russian army planted a flag in Avdiivka, it still cannot fully control the town. Some sources even claim that the Russian flag was taken down from the signs at the entrance to the Avdiivka and replaced with the Ukrainian flag. The Azov Battalion also shared footage of this operation on its social media account. In the post made by the Azov Battalion, one of the most elite units of the Ukrainian army, the following statements were used about the operation. The Azov Battalion conducted an operation behind the enemy lines. This operation refuted the enemy's claims about Avdiivka. The footage of this operation showing unique images of the invaders being eliminated in the close combat. This operation carried out by the Azov Battalion caused a great shock in Russia. In particular, Russian troops in Robotyne, where a new offensive is expected to begin, are very nervous. According to local sources, a large number of Russian soldiers have requested rotation to the war leadership. However, the war leadership has reportedly rejected most of these requests, and the Russian troops are in a panic. Russian sources are again making statements full of anger against the Russian war leadership and the Russian administration. These statements criticize the statements made by the Russian military in recent days. The statement of the Russian sources on the subject is as follows. What happened when the Azov Battalion was no longer able to carry out operations? What happened in Avdiivka? Where we had full control? We don't know how many Russian soldiers were destroyed by the enemy. Stop lying. Tell us the truth and do your job properly. We can say that the anger of the Russian sources is quite justified because according to our information from the region, the Russian army lost 1,290 soldiers just the one day after the capture of Avdiivka. The Russian army had already suffered heavy casualties in its efforts to capture the town, and the fact that they captured the town and is still suffering heavy casualties enraged the Russian nationalities, extremists and war supporters. The Robotyne area will soon become very active. It is likely that the Russian army will also face heavy losses on this front line as well. Therefore, the strategy of the Ukrainian army is of great importance. If the Russian army is sufficiently worn down here, a new offensive may be possible. Also, support for the Ukrainian army will be important in this process. So what do you think? Do you think the Azov Battalion of the Ukrainian army will carry out more infiltration operations? Or do you think this operation was successful? Do you think that the Russian army will suffer heavy losses in the Robotyne region? Let me know in the comments, because you know that I read and I care about all your comments.